I knew Guy through that. For a number of reasons, Guy and I had crossed paths at that point. It's kind of a, not necessarily a long story, but I was working for a job here locally, and it was at that time when I was working in that job, I was just constantly obsessed with like the social media aspect of what I was doing, and I think almost maybe too obsessed with it to the point where I was too focused on writing and making videos and editing, and it was like so where I was, it didn't work out. And at that time, I was like, oh man, what am I going to do? I have all this skill. I've been growing my page. I've been talking about Vermont politics. At that point, I had already run for office. And I knew Guy through that. For a number of reasons, Guy and I had crossed paths at that point. And I remember just thinking, like, I know exactly what I need to do. I need to reach out to Guy and see if there's any way, shape, or form I could help him with the Chronicle. So that was probably January 2024. Maybe it was December, and then I actually started with you in January and started going to the session. And I have to admit, my first session in Montpelier was awful. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It was rough for a number of reasons. We were there during the supermajority of Democrats, and they thought they had a real grip on things, which honestly at that time they did. But as it turns out, over time, especially following that session and the property tax increase, then all the amazing political campaigns throughout the last summer, which of course, Rob, you and I worked on one of them together, which was Get Real, which I think was a success. And then there's of course all the other people that all around the state that put in the work to run and make it happen. So that really changed things in 2024 election. I would say for us, Guy, for a number of reasons. The president, Donald Trump, also winning was a big piece in that puzzle. Just to be very clear, the first year was pretty rough, but we were growing. Things were happening. We did have some really cool interviews that we did and videos that were, we made some traction. Things changed. But again, until really January 20th, 2025, which was the day that story about the really tragic story of the Border Patrol agent that got shot up on the border by a cult member, it turns out, right? At the time, we were kind of unsure, but we covered it, and that story... An illegal immigrant transgender cult member is the bare fact of it. Well, now it is. But at the time, I think I reported it as like, illegal fleeing immigrant shoots Border Patrol agent, which we caught some flack for that. Some people were upset about how we had covered it, and I don't know what happened that day, but it was obviously Inauguration Day, and obviously some people down in Washington, D.C. saw that story because our numbers exploded. I mean, it wasn't just like we had posted it on our page on social media. It was just like somebody had shared it, and then it was just going viral organically. There was really not, other than us writing the story and posting it, there was really nothing that we did other than that. And I will say, just for anyone out there who's listening and maybe you want to get involved in media or you want to be a writer, it's I'm not going to say it's not that hard, but it's never been more accessible than it is today. If you're somebody who wants to be a writer, or you're somebody who wants to have some level of influence, and you have ideas you want to share, or you want to cover, just be an honest, independent journalist who's bare bones, trying to get to the bottom of things, write the facts, you can do that. And that's what we've been doing.